I think we are live. Uh, Give me one sec. Yep, I think we're live, and welcome back. I haven't streamed for a couple days now. I took the weekend off. I'm pretty sure I said something about it on social media somewhere. I'm pretty sure I said something about it. But anyway, that's why I haven't been here for the past few days. I was not dead. Um, my house did not get raided. I am still here. I'm still alive, and I am still streaming. Wearing a new hat this time. Got it for like $6. It's pretty nice. Anyway, today we're gonna be breaking down simply why the left hates America and why most of them won't admit it. Uh, when you see what I mean by that is when a lot of these Democrats they will come out and be like, well, I don't hate America. I just don't like what it stands for, or something like that. Where they'll kind of try to go around it, but in reality, they all hate America. Most of them do. I shouldn't say all of them. Most of them do. Some of them, uh, I think, do actually care about America. They're just going at it the wrong way. That's why they're on the left. But before we get started, just if you want to, just hit the like button and the subscribe button. It's 100% free, and it's the way you can support the channel at the moment. You can also click the link in the description below. Go to my main channel. We'll be back on that one September 7th. Until then, we're on this one. And my Rumble, I dropped a new video on my Rumble Saturday that you're going to want to see. It's all about the left's crackdown on people like me, other people who speak out against their BS, especially when it comes to the virus. Yeah, so you want to go check that out. That's also linked to the description. I don't think I linked my social media, but if you just go to my main channel, a lot of my social medias are linked there. So you can follow, at least on like Gab or Twitter, which are the two ones I usually use the most. You also, if you want to, you should follow me on Instagram as well. I post little clips from the show on there. I post little videos as well, little clips and whatnot. It's pretty entertaining. So you want to go, you should go follow me on everywhere. Keep up to date. But anyway, let's get into this. So before we get in, I have a video here, and I think the perfectly captures the view of the left when it comes to America. This is from last year. It's a clip. This is Logan Paul talking about America and how racist it is. Here you go.
One of my biggest learnings from all of this, and I'm embarrassed that it's taken me 25 years to realize this. It is not enough to be not racist. You have to be anti-racist.
Yes.
Condemn those who feign superiority because of the color of their skin. Friends, hold friends accountable. Hold your family accountable. Hold yourself accountable. And most importantly, we must hold our authorities accountable. Police officers, politicians, policymakers. As Killer Mike said, bully the politicians at the voting booth. Make your voice heard. Attend a protest. Speak up against injustice. If you're white, if you look like me, use your privilege. And for those who do not think white privilege exists, you are fucking blind. You are delusional and you are part of the problem. I can count on zero hands the amount of times that I have feared for my life at a routine traffic stop. That has never happened. Half of the reason I'm able to get away with some of my hooligan shit I do in my vlogs is because I'm a white kid. I'm confident that I do not have to fear for my life should the cops show up. Acknowledge and weaponize your privilege. I believe we're going to a protest today. You can bet your fucking ass I'll be in the front line. Knowing all this about America, its racially charged background, its inability to truly treat humans as equals, even after 244 years since its inception, we must now work towards finding the solution. And if you are an influencer or a celebrity friend of mine, I hope you are using your platform to continue to spread the message of solidarity and unity. I do not have all the answers, but I know we must now reverse engineer the system as a collective.
Logan Paul, you poor naive bastard. This is the same guy, by the way, who just a couple years ago made a video going into a Japanese suicide forest and filmed a dead body for money. So yeah, I'm really gonna be taking advice from him on how to fix our country. What a loser. I mean, see, he started changing a little bit, actually. I will admit, he started becoming a little more mature over the years. I've listened, that was from his podcast. I've listened to a couple episodes of his podcast. He had people like Alex Jones on his podcast. It was a good episode. But you notice in that video, all he's doing for most of the time, he's putting out his little speech about how racist and hateful America is. Whole time he's looking at the computer. Why? Because he's just reading off something. He might not even believe this. I don't know, but he's just reading off a script that he was told to read off by someone else. I would put money down that that's why he's just reading off a script. I would put money that someone else wrote it. But that whole rant, it kind of perfectly captures the left's idea of America, that it can't treat America. It's incapable of treating people equally. That's what he said. His words. It's just like I pointed out on a video on the main channel. It was the video was like people hating America on Independence Day. It was Cori Bush, representative from Missouri, or congresswoman, I don't know, where she comes out on Independence Day and says, America, when people say happy 4th of July or whatnot, they happy Independence Day, they only mean independence for white people. Black people are not free in America. Which is funny because if you know who Cori Bush is, she's a black congresswoman, I believe, from Missouri. The left pushes this narrative that America is still hateful and racist because of this one example of police brutality. In America can never treat people like equals. That's why we had the whole civil rights movement. That's why we had the Equal Pay Act. That's America is probably the best at treating people like equals. But the way the left gets people to hate America is they take a look at history and they say this is America. They take pre-Civil War America and look at it and say this is America. Even pre civil rights America. They take a look at it and they say that is America, and that's always will be America. There's this a Newsweek article that says why millennials and Gen Z aren't proud to be American. You want to know why they aren't proud to be American? Because they're told to not be proud to be an American. They're lied to by the mainstream media, by people like Logan Paul, by celebrities. You should go watch the Rumble video. I talk about COVID and that, but it's the same thing. I talked about how the White House is paying celebrities to push out the COVID-19 vaccine, to push it out there. They do the same thing with everything else. It's no different. The government uses celebrities to push out whatever narrative they want to talk about. Why? Because the young people look up to celebrities. So if they see the guy who makes the videos they like on YouTube, Logan Paul, they know Logan Paul, they watched him for how many years. They like him, they feel this connection with him, and they see him start talking about how racist and evil America is. They're gonna grow up believing America is racist and evil. And when they're put in the public school system that teaches them critical race theory and how being white is horrible and disgusting. They grow up hating America because they've been told to hate America, because they've been lied to. They've been given this fake history that what America was in the past is always what America will be. America can never change to the left. And that's what they do. That's why I can answer Newsweek's question. That's why millennials and Gen Z aren't proud to be American. It says, are you proud to be an American? It's a seemingly simple question, but also a loaded one. And factors can impact the answer, including how old the person being asked is. Exactly. They are true. This is true. It's how old the person is. Because the younger you are, the more radicalized these people are being. The more radical views are being shoved down your throat. I pointed out so many times in different videos about almost everything the left does. They always go for kids. And it's actually why I'm planning on doing a live stream tomorrow night talking on this, about kind of expanding on this, how the left goes after kids. And it's not good. But the left goes after the young and the stupid. The ones who are so emotional. And will just do, and all the left does is push out emotional phrases and whatnot. I can't think of the right word. Emotional, yeah. Let's just go with phrases where they talk about how women are under attack, and abortion, it's the right to your bodies are under attack. There's a war on your bodies, and black people are getting gunned down in the street. So the emotional idiot who doesn't even take 2 seconds to do a simple Google search on these things will just believe whatever they believe. These emotional phrases. The phrases are designed to make you emotional, so you think rationally less. You think less rationally. That's what the left goes after. They go after the young people and the idiots. And then they're like, oh, why are so many young people? Why do so many young people hate America? It's because they're waking up and they're seeing the BS of America. Polling shows there's a patriotism gap between older and younger Americans. Generation Z and millennials are less likely to say yes to the question of national pride than those born in the decades preceding them. Because even, years ago, even though we disagreed on most things, the left and the right both liked America. They both loved America. They're both fairly patriotic. Even though they disagree, like I said, I've talked about this again multiple times in the show. They disagreed on a lot of things, but at the end of the day, we could all unite behind that. America is great, and we like everything America stands for. The Democrat Party is just totally changed over the years, and it's not that anymore. And that's why even like some older Democrats are seeming a little more libertarian now, because it's shifted. The Democrat Party has become more radical, leaving older people behind and going after the young. 67% of 1,424 U.S. adults in the polling said that they were extremely or very proud to be American when asked between June 30th and July 2nd during the build-up to Independence Day. But among those aged 18 to 24, just 36% said the same, with 35% in that age bracket stating they were only slightly or not at all proud to be an American. Ipsos polling of 1,026 people between June 25th and the 28th showed a similar pattern. Overall, 69% said they are proud to be American. This figure was boosted by Gen X and baby boomers, with 71% and 84% respectively saying they were. Among millennials, however, just 52% said the same. Of those in Gen Z, 58% were proud to be an American. it is a majority in both younger brackets, but there is a clear generational divide. It raises an obvious question. Why do younger people feel less proud than their elders? Again, I just explained it to you because they're being told to hate America. I mean, if you look back 30 years ago, most people were being told to love America. They were being told, hey, we've done some bad things in the past, but guess what? We've reversed those bad things. We had slavery. We got rid of slavery. We had, Jim Crow. We got rid of Jim Crow. But but now they're pretending like all that, we've never got rid of slavery. All these Jim Crow laws and stuff, they're still happening. And if you want voter ID, that's Jim Crow. Jim Crow 2.0. Jim Crow on steroids. I'm gonna take the hat off a little bit. Ophelia, I don't know how to say this name. Ophelia Jacobson is a reporter for Campus Reform, an activist group that calls itself a conservative watchdog for the nation's higher education system. Jacobson, who is studying at University of Florida, asked young people in Washington, D.C. if they are proud to be an American for a recent Campus Reform video, which Fox News later reported on. The first person in the clip told her they feel embarrassed to be an American every day and referenced racist history, colonization, and currently just what's going on with politics and the cops. Again, this is exactly what I'm talking about. They prey on young and stupid people. If you did just a quick Google search on these things. Well, the first thing is, if America is so bad and evil, is there anywhere else in the world that is better than America? The answer would be, according to them, no. They were probably trying to make an argument for somewhere else, but in reality, no, because they say America is bad because of racist history, colonization, and currently what's just going on with cops and police. I've said before, almost everywhere during history, at some point in history, almost every group of people were oppressed, were put in slavery. It's not just black people. All over the world, there's still slavery in the world. Racism does not just exist in America. Colonization, that's what they always say. Which is, I actually talked about this in the video I mentioned before on my main channel. It was a recent video. Like people hating America on Independence Day. They talk about how much they hate America because it's colonized land. Well, guess what? Colonization was happening long before America. It's people fighting over things, people fighting over land. It was happening long before America, and it wasn't just Americans who were doing it. They always talk about how we colonized this land from Indians. Well, guess what? The Indians were doing it to themselves as well. They always pretend that it's just white people. It's just American. It's just America who did this. The Indians were not good people, okay? Most of them were not. As much as the left will try to make you believe, most of them were savages who killed each other. Not even just in war, sacrifice themselves. They would have days where they would just sacrifice themselves. They would line them up. They would have a whole day to killing Indians, killing each other, their own tribe. They would line them up, one after another. They would lay them down, cut their heart out, and then throw them over the cliff. Their dead body over the cliff. These people were savages. They're not good people. It just blows my mind how the left tries to paint, the Indians as if they were just these poor, innocent people who were just colonized by the white man. As if colonization hasn't happened at any time before in history. And it's not like the Indians were doing it to each other as well. Shut up, okay? And lastly, currently, just what's going on with politics and the cops. Now, I would like to imagine that they're saying the cops are racist. And sure, some cops are racist. Some cops are bad. I talked about this in my video a couple days ago on this channel. And how we should be careful supporting the police, as we're seeing a lot of bad cops are coming out and enforcing really bad laws about masking and whatnot. But there are good cops. And they always talk about how cops disproportionately go after black people, which is weird because more white people get killed every year by cops than black people. Then they'll say, well, there's more white people in America than black people. Yeah, but also black people commit more crime than white people. And they're less than, it's 50% of the crime and like 13% of the population. So if we want to get to numbers, we can do numbers. But like I said, they prey on the stupid and the young. Sometimes they're both. Jacobson, who described herself as a proud American, told Newsweek she was discouraged to see how unpatriotic so many young people are these days. The United States is experiencing a reckoning with its past. Debates around racism and racial justice have gained traction. These discussions were spotlighted by widespread protests following high-profile killings of black Americans, such as George Floyd. Again, they prey on the stupid, because if anyone actually has watched the George Floyd clip, the whole 25-minute arrest, the body cam footage, you would see that there's no evidence of racism there. So I love it how they always talk about how George Floyd showed us the racism in America, which does not make sense because, one, there's no evidence that George Floyd was killed because of racism. Two, Chauvin was convicted anyway. It's not like we just said, it doesn't matter. Hey. No, Chauvin was arrested and convicted for like first-degree murder. Oh, second degree, I think. How is that racism? Such incidents and fiery talks of systemic racism, as well as personal experience of injustice in modern America, may be impacting younger generations' feelings about the country, dampening any inclination to feel proud. Newsweek spoke with younger people who expressed on social media unhappiness with the U.S. to ask why they did not feel proud to be an American. All asked not to be named, a request granted in what is a verbal and at times violent political climate. Learning real American history has made me ashamed to be an American. What American history? What American history did you not know that has been held back from you? Most schools teach about slavery, if that's what you're talking about, and the evils of it. Most schools teach about, the civil rights era. Most schools don't leave out the bad things in America. It's part of the history. So I don't know what all of a sudden we're just learning all these new things about America. Learning real history has made me ashamed to be an American. I've long since detested my heritage, but I have come to despise my country I find myself stuck in. How can anyone learn about this country and feel proud? It confuses and sickens me. One of the reasons people feel proud about America is that they realize we have done very bad things in the past, but we fixed it. A lot of these other countries still have slavery. They don't have, most people aren't seen as equal as they are in America. Slavery is not ended. It's still happening in other countries. But let's forget that. Slavery once happened in America, so that makes America evil forever. But yeah, it goes on. It's a long article. I'm not going to sit here and read all of it, but it kind of just sums up the idea of how just dumb these people are. Just how dumb they are. Just take a quick Google search and you'll realize most of the stuff the Democrat Party talks about is BS. The George Floyd, this comes from the flag lady. The George Floyd death is questionable only because there are many videos showing potentially that the death was faked. I don't exactly know. I'm gonna be honest. I don't exactly know exactly what you're talking about. I will say I did sit down and watch the 25 30-minute video cam, the police body footage, and I will say there are very questionable things in there. And to act as George Floyd is a hero is a lie. George Floyd was high as a kite when he was arrested. He refused to get in a police car, and he while they tried to put him on a police car first. He claimed he couldn't breathe before he was ever on the ground, and they put him on the ground, and he suffocated with Chauvin's knee on his neck. There's high probability that he didn't die because of the knee on his neck. He could have died because he was high as a kite. He was claiming he couldn't breathe before he even got in the car. Either way, even if Chauvin's knee on his neck killed Floyd, there is still no evidence that it happened because of racism. That's what it just blows my mind how much the media pushes this narrative, and it's just not true. There's no evidence. Look, if you actually look at it. But what the media does is they clip like 30 seconds of it where George Floyd says he can't breathe and say, "Oh my gosh, why was this cop doing this to this man? He was claiming he couldn't breathe." Well, yeah, George Floyd was also claiming he couldn't breathe before they even put him on the ground. So it kind of makes sense why Chauvin wasn't really believing him when he said he couldn't breathe while he was on the ground. But yeah, about I don't know exactly what you're. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know exactly what you're talking about the other camera angles. I'm just saying what from what I've seen, there's no evidence of racism. And now, could it have been racially fueled? Sure, but is there any evidence of it? No. But the media is still pushing it out there as it's a fact. DC Comics changes Superman's catchphrase. His catchphrase used to be, it says that the new Superman just wants the S on his chest to stand for truth, justice, and a better world, rather than the American way. So they changed the phrase from truth, justice, and the American way to a better world. And they wonder why people hate America. Again, they're being taught to hate America, and anything it stands for is horrible. Go to any other country and try to have the same rights you have in America. Most countries don't have. You're not promised all the rights you promised in America that you promised in almost any other country. Some countries might have some free speech. I was actually talking to someone online about this, and I looked at almost every country's free speech laws. Most of them claim they have free speech, except for hate speech, which, unfortunately, it seems like America's heading down that way as well. Yeah, but they look at the bad things. They only look at the bad things in society, in American history, and say that's America. But when you tell them to look at any other country, they only take the good things from that country and say, "Oh, this is the whole country." One of the biggest examples, if you tell them to look at Cuba and how socialism has failed Cuba, they always say, "It's Bernie Sanders. They have high literacy rates." Okay, because there are people literally standing. There are people starving in these countries, standing in line for hours just to get a loaf of bread, and you're gonna sit there and tell me Cuba's great because they have high literacy rates. they're flip floppy. They say, "Oh, America had slavery in its past and was racist in its past, and that's how America always will be." And then they look at, like I said, Cuba and say, let's forget all the dead people because of socialism and say, hey, they have high literacy rates. We're doing pretty good, guys. Joe62 says Marvel used to be my go-to. Then I had to go to DC. Now I'm better off comic free. Yeah, I I've kind of just I don't like most newer comics anyway. I have I actually collect older comics, which are better. I'm more of a Marvel guy though. But yeah, most newer comics, most newer stuff is just garbage anyway. Like it's not even that good. Like I tried to read a newer like Captain America comic book, and it honestly was not good. It wasn't even it wasn't even like super new. It was from a couple of years ago. It's not good. Yeah, exactly. There's a difference between hate speech and speeches you hate. And well, the thing is with hate speech, actually, hate speech is speech that people hate. There's no real definition of hate speech because people see, like the SJWs, they always talk about hate speech. There's no, and the First Amendment doesn't protect hate speech. But what is hate speech? Most of it is speech that they hate. So hate speech is a bunch of garbage, and there's no, like I said, there's no real definition for it, and that's for a purpose because it's supposed to be anything, like a politician doesn't like those counted as hate speech. Anything this person doesn't like, those counted as hate speech, and then so they can take away your speech. It was stuff I talked about like a week ago when they're talking about getting rid of far right memes because they're too dangerous to be left on the internet. It's just ways to censor speech. That's honestly what it is. So we've gone through this, like we're hitting like half an hour, almost 40 minutes, explaining how the left hates America. But if you look at Vox, the most reliable name in news, no. I don't even know. I honestly would say something like InfoWars is probably the most reliable name in news. I'm honestly, because most mainstream media is garbage. Fox, I mean, even Fox is kind of getting mainstream now. Like most Fox is not good. Tucker Carlson's good. Other than Sean Hannity's okay. Other than that, most of it's garbage anyway. The mainstream, honestly, InfoWars is pretty good. I'm gonna be honest with you. And no, pineapple on pizza is not hate speech. Pineapple on pizza is delicious. Anyway, but the Vox claims that America, all right, the right is actually anti-American. They have this article. This is the anti-American right, rooting against Olympians, scoffing at Capitol Police, broaching civil war. Meet today's conservative movement. Let's see, rooting against Olympians. Yeah, I'm not gonna root for these woke anti-American Olympians. And yeah, I scoff at the Capitol Police, especially some of their testimonies. We talked about it a couple days in the show. The one guy broke down crying because he claimed he was called the N-word, which I'm not for calling people the N-word. Now, it's free. Now, can you say it? Yeah, free speech. But should you say it? I'm not big on saying it. But you're going to sit there and cry because you got called a name? You should see my Twitter timeline. I get called names all the time. So yeah, I do make fun of the Capitol Police, especially the guy who was testifying and saying how horrible it was because he got called a bad name on the job. It's like, come on. Like, one, I'm not even sure if that actually happened. I don't believe you. Two, if it did happen, sure, it's not good, but you're gonna sit here and cry about it? Honestly, I've been called worse things. Like I said, you look at my Twitter. People call me a lot worse than the N-word. The Olympics, this is the Vox article. The Olympics are typically a boom time for Jin, jin, jingoism. I don't know what that means. I'm too dumb. Patriotic fever heightening among Americans of all stripes, with each gold medal for Team USA. This year, we've seen an unlikely faction of Americans rooting against our athletes, conservatives. I'm rooting. I honestly do not. I'm not even really rooting against them. I just don't care. I haven't watched like a single second of the Olympics. I don't care. I think America has more gold medals, which honestly, at the end of the day, I'm like, okay. But I just don't care anymore. It's not because I hate America. It's because they have to push politics into these things. I've talked about this so many times. Why don't we just keep politics out of stuff like sports? You know, I barely watched the NFL last year. Like I watched maybe 2 games. I only watched the Super Bowl because I had a friend over and we barely even watched the Super Bowl. But it makes me not want to watch these things because they have to push a political message. It just does not. It doesn't make me. I can't enjoy these things anymore because as I'm sitting there just trying to watch the game, I keep getting told how racist I am because I'm white. Like, no. I'm not going to root for people who are anti-American like most of these Olympians who are supposed to be representing America. It says during a late July rally, President Donald Trump claimed that Americans were happy about the women's soccer team losing to Sweden. Now that I am happy with because the women's soccer team is trash. And I do hate most of them. A loss they blamed on wokeism, turning the squad demented. Yeah. Tommy Lauren called Team USA the largest group of whiny social justice activists the Olympics have ever seen in decades. Is she wrong? Accusing them in a Tuesday Fox News segment of engaging in typical leftist so-called activism. Yeah. I haven't seen a single lie in this whole in these statements. And after the men's basketball team lost to France, Newsmax host Grant Stinchfield said he took pleasure in their defeat. Joe62 says they don't really hate the U.S. It's just like Shep when he got killed off South Park. They're brainwashed. That's why they don't leave. Yeah. I mean, so most of them I do think are brainwashed. A couple of them I do think just hate America. But yeah, most of them I'd say are probably brainwashed because like I said, most of them probably are younger people anyway. They're too stupid to realize. Yeah. So we have these people, but I'm supposed to root for these people representing my country who turn their backs to the flag, kneel for the national anthem, like the pink haired lady from the U.S. soccer team. She's like the one I do think she just hates. I think she just flat out hates America. No, they're like parasites. They mooch off the greatness of America and then talk about how much they hate it. But they won't leave because they need it. They need America to survive. Go over to some other country and see how much. Like go over to these other places, like China, or maybe some of these Muslim countries in the Middle East. See how much they like you. They probably won't. The team is filled with anthem kneelers. Yes, and I find it ironic that they're willing to put USA on their chest when when in the not so distant past they would kneel for the anthem. Somebody ought to go up there and just rip USA off their chest, said Stinchfield from Newsmax, who briefly went off the air earlier this year after insinuating that Jewish Americans are foreigners during a monologue. These attacks on Team USA are not just culture war red meat. They are a reflection of a rising tendency in the conservative movement to reject America itself. In this thinking, the country. Let me tighten this. In this thinking, the country is so corrupted it is no longer a source of pride or even worthy of respect. Its most radical versions you even see cheering for revolution or civil war. Now, I will say, most people aren't calling for civil war. I myself have never called for civil war. most of the right is saying is civil war is going to happen. Do I want it to happen? No. Is it going to happen? Probably. I mean, I think the best case scenario is peaceful divorce, but there's probably going to be a civil war. But if you say that, I guess you're anti-American. No, I'm simply just stating a fact. The left and right is so divided that we see leftists on Twitter calling for, like anti-vaxxers. If you don't take the COVID vaccine, I honestly, I saw this. You know what? I'll pull it up. Actually, I don't know if I can put this on YouTube. But let me pull up the tweet. Let's see if I have it. I don't know if I have it right now, but it was basically someone on Twitter who said, I'm going to basically sum it up. They said that unvaccinated people need to be rounded up and shot, put in front of a firing squad and shot, because they are a danger to society. We haven't had enough of them, and America needs to move on. That's what the tweet said. The left, America is divided. And the left wants to pretend that it's not. Oh, what? No, it's not. All I'm saying is I do see a civil war happening. So, or at least something similar to it. And the media wants to sit there and pretend like, what? No, that's not happening. And if you even, like I said, if you even say it, you're anti-American now, I guess. But yeah, the anti-American left is trying to say and actually call, well, no, the right is anti-American. So I played that clip earlier on. If some of you saw, some of you might have come in a little later, but there was Logan Paul. I played the clip of Logan Paul, but basically summed up the left's view of America. Did that Logan Paul video just fill you with patriotism and proud to be your country? And before I go, I'll probably be ending the stream soon, but before, I wanted to make sure I played this clip, because this is an awesome ad. I'm not sponsored in any way by this company. I just wanted to play this because this ad literally gave me chills. This ad is incredible, and it sums up, I think, the right's view of America right now. Here you go. Like I said, not sponsored, by the way. Just a really good ad.
My fellow Americans, it looks like some things have changed. Are we doing a good enough job teaching our children what America is and what she represents?
You want an abortion? Get one!
Younger parents aren't sure that an appreciation of America is the right thing to teach modern children.
We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great.
When I drive into a neighborhood and there are American flags, it's a message of white supremacy.
I'm warning of an eradication of the American memory that could result in an erosion of the American spirit.
We need to completely
Dismantle the police department.
If we forget what we did, we won't know who we are. We've got to do a better job of getting across that America is freedom, and freedom is special and rare. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of enterprise. As long as we remember our first principle and believe in ourselves, the future will always be ours. Ours was the first revolution in the history of mankind that truly reversed the course of government, and with three little words: we the people. We the people are free. Once you begin a great movement, there's no telling where it'll end.
So that was an ad of a wine company, and like I said, I'm not sponsored. It's just a really good ad. I had to play it because honestly, it gave me chills. But I think that ad, just like the Logan Paul video at the beginning, perfectly summed up the left's view on America. That ad perfectly sums up the right's view of America. Even though America, how it looks is changing. The left is corrupting. We have corrupt politicians. There's corruption everywhere, and that's why the left the right. The left claims they hate America. No, the right doesn't hate America itself. It hates the people running America. It hates the corrupt people representing America. Even though we see all this corruption around us, we need to remember that what America was founded on: freedom and justice, and every person is equal. Not the socialist view of how everyone needs to be, not equity, the socialist view. No, we are equal. We need to remember that. As the left is trying to, is by the day trying to destroy America, we need to remember what America was founded on and how important those things are. We need to remember how we fought for those things in the past. Our founding fathers, our ancestors, they all fought for these things so we can have these things now. We need to make sure our future generations have these things. We need to make sure the future generations have America. We need to protect America from the anti-American left. Because unlike what Vox tries to claim, it's the left that's anti-American. And some of them will even admit that. Others won't, like Vox. They try to claim, oh, no, it's actually the right that's anti-American. No, it's the left. And we need to protect the rights and freedoms we have from the left. Anyway, that's about it for tonight. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you leave a like and hit the subscribe button. It's 100% free. Check out the main channel. We'll be back on that one September 7th. When we have a couple strikes on that channel. We can't get one more or the channel's gone forever. So we're going to wait till those expire, which is around September 7th. Until then, we're on this channel. You can also check out my Rumble as well. Like I said, I put out a new video on Saturday. You should go check out. And yeah, that's about it. Yes, pineapple does belong on pizza. I see you guys in the chat. Anyway, like I said, make sure you keep we need to protect these rights and freedoms we have for future generations. It's your job to do that. Have a good night.